Thank you, Daniel. And our final lightning talk before we break into workshops is from Michelle Ross, excuse me, who's going to tell us a bit about democracy-friendly schools. Michelle.
Not just a little bit, probably a lot. Hi everybody. So my name is Michelle Ross and I'm from Kirklees Council Democracy Service and I'm really excited to be up here to share stories of trust based on our Democracy Friendly Schools programme, and probably stories of hope, which, as you'll remember, was the theme at Notwestminster last year. So, a little bit about Democracy Friendly Schools programme for those of you that don't know. It supports children and young people to learn about local democracy and to have an active role in shaping their local place. It's been created by young citizens, some of them are in the room with us today, and it's based on learning from over 1,700 children and young people locally, and it's open to all schools in Kirklees. It's the first of its kind in the country, and it's free, and we have to say that because quite often people say to us, how much does it cost? Democracy shouldn't cost a thing. And it's already proving really popular with students and staff alike. It's our ambition with this magic wand of ours that all schools in Kirklees will become democracy friendly, every single one of them. And we've created a really simple Democracy Friendly Schools Award so we can help those schools celebrate their successes. I've got a lot to say about this, so if you want to come see me over break, then please find me. So, when I eagerly volunteered to do a lightning talk, I thought, oh gosh, there's so much to say, how do I do this? So I thought, why not just focus on the theme of this year and actually pick trust? And then I thought, here, in a Yorkshire accent, what actually is trust? Where does it come from? Who starts it? And where does it lead us? So I thought the best thing to do was probably check that out with a brand new group of youth counsellors. So I first asked them, what does trust mean to you? Absolutely blown away. This is written by a 14-year-old girl at one of our local high schools. Trust is the feeling of reliance, firm belief or acceptance of truth. Trust can be earned in something as small as a smile or a door held open. It's always nearly earned with an act of kindness, big or small. The feeling of being trusted is often very honourable. You feel honoured to have the trust of someone and you value it more. Some people find trust a burden. It can be too unconditional, and some people are afraid of breaking the responsibility of trust. And I think that is super powerful, and I'll talk about the burden of trust in a second. So I asked them, what does trust mean to you? And they told me a lot, because we like to chat in these sessions, and they told me that it makes them feel special, that it creates bonds, it creates relationships, friendships, and they told me that it creates growth. Now they told me that after I'd asked them, could you share an example of when you've trusted someone and how it feels? And they said, no, actually I'd rather tell you how it feels when people trust me, which I thought was really interesting. So, where does trust come from? It was raining there, by the way, and I don't think trust just automatically rains down on you. That was somewhere with 200 NCS participants. So, primary schools who express an interest in our programme are provided with a 1-hour train-the-trainer session in their school, and this is where we get a chance to kind of describe the programme in more detail and help them get started on the programme. And I've heard absolutely tons of personal stories of trust, and I've just picked out a couple for you. So there was a head teacher in a rural primary school who told me that he got his head shipped during lockdown, and he was amazed and fazed that the community almost instantly placed all this trust in him and looked to him for guidance. And he felt the weight of that responsibility, just like that Year 9 student talked about the burden of responsibility, of trust. He talked about the world of politics being bleak and depressing. But once I'd described our definition of democracy, of social action, of doing things together with the community and local councillors, he became animated and positive and generally excited about the possibilities of what he could achieve within his school community. And then interestingly, another head teacher told me that he'd got his head shipped during lockdown and he too felt the weight of that burden of trust and responsibility. And these two schools are exact opposite in terms of location and the community they serve. And I just thought that was a really interesting point. Is that about gender? Is that about status? And that's certainly given me something to think about. I met an enthusiastic teacher through school when I went to do one of these introduction meetings, if you like, and I got a sense she was really nervous. So we sat down with a brew and I said, have you got any idea why we're meeting? And she said, no, other than it's to do with democracy, and I've no idea what democracy is. I've been up all night researching it, I still don't know what it is. And I said, don't worry, well, let's finish our brew and we'll get chatting. And by the time I'd finished describing how we see democracy, she just kind of said, oh my gosh, we do this all the time. Is that democracy? It's like, yes, it is. It so is. And then, whilst we're talking about trust, we've now got a partnership with with a Muslim all-through school, which is a first for us. And I'm not kidding, I can literally feel the trust when I go into the school from the students and the teachers there. So that's absolutely fantastic for us. So, trust. Where does it lead us? That was just a picture of some wellies outside the school that I took, and I thought that's just an amazing image. Abby's one of our democracy-friendly schools leading a local secondary school, and I asked her what trust meant to her. Trust for me is something that I really struggle with, and I don't know, I find it's something hard to do. I'm a bit of a perfectionist. I was the infuriating person who used to get agitated if there wasn't anything quite right and believed that if you want a job doing well, you do it yourself. Anyone who works in education knows that you can't do everything yourself and that for your own sanity you have to let go. This is especially true when working with young people. I've had some of my biggest life lessons while working at King James's School, and that includes taking part in the Democracy Friendly Schools programme. I've had to learn to trust a group of young people who I didn't really know but who expressed an interest in taking part. I wasn't sure what to expect as I'd never led on anything like this before, but I'm so glad that I did put my trust in my student team and in Michelle. If I hadn't have done that, I wouldn't have had the opportunity to see the creativity, the passion, or the excitement that can come from looking beyond the classroom into our journey into democracy. I've had to learn to let go of perfectionism, and with that came trust in the team. They've blown my mind time and time again, and I'd rather take that over perfectionism any day. So, where does trust lead us? Well, for the Democracy Friendly Schools programme, it's leading us just everywhere. It's absolutely amazing, and we're pleased to tell you now that we've got our first set of schools that have got the Democracy Friendly Schools Award. This one is Gummersall St Mary's. They were our very first school to receive the award, and it was all based on trust for them. They told us, be open to the route children go down. I thought I knew what the children would want to do and the issues that they would want to tackle. However, they wanted to do things I'd never even thought of. Fairfield is our very first special school ever to receive the award, and their top tips also are based on trust. Basically, just let the young people do what they want to do and you'll be blown away, especially by their growing confidence. Gummersall Primary School. They told us that when they first started leading the project, that children thought democracy was something done in London. They're now aware that this is something that happens every day and something that they're a valuable part of. Another one of our awesome special schools, Castle Hill, they told us that they were really pleased to be invited into the programme because actually they often feel left out of activities because they are a special school. So we've got all that trust growing there as well between the community and the counsellors. I'm nearly done, I promise. Springgrove Infant Nursery School told us that they've got several asylum seeker and refugee families in their school community who may not have felt the benefits of democratic living before, but through the school's everyday democracy activities, they're building relationships built on trust. And finally, trust has been perfectly summed up, I think, by another one of our amazing youth counsellors. I gave someone something precious to me and they returned it in a better condition. Thank you.
Brilliant. Thank you, Michelle.